Hello, hello everyone. Welcome to our IG Live. There are a few other individuals that will be joining us right now, so waiting for them to get on. We are going to be talking about the infamous burnout. I think everyone can relate to that. Okay, I see a few people joining here. Let me go ahead and get some of them added. Okay. Oh, there we go. Oh. Okay, there we go. There's one. Hi. And let me see if I have, oh, there we go. There's another request. And I think waiting on one more. Let's see if that works for her. It's always, kind of a challenge getting everyone added. Hello. Welcome. Hi. Okay, I don't see the other requests yet, but hopefully she gets on here. And when I see that pop up, I'll go ahead and get her added as well. But again, we are here to talk about burnout prevention and recovery. I think that's, unfortunately, it seems like burnout is almost like a 2-for-1 deal in healthcare anymore, sadly. But we are all feeling it. Okay, I see one more request. Let me go ahead and get Lena added here. And that should be everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. Can you guys hear me okay? Hi.
Hi.
Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, you sound perfect.
Okay, yep, wonderful, wonderful. So again, we are here to talk about burnout prevention and recovery. Again, it seems like burnout is, so commonplace in healthcare anymore. So briefly, my name is Shauntel. I am a nurse, a health and burnout coach, and I'm also the founder of Chart Life, that's lifewithany.com, where we offer free resources for health professionals. And we will also be hosting a webinar for health professionals coming up April 2nd through May 7th. Lots of amazing speakers, lots of different resources, tools for you to help you conquer your burnout. And I will be speaking on boundaries and burnout. So I hope to see you guys there. And I'll let everyone else go ahead and introduce themselves.
Hi, I can go. I'm Katie. I am a health coach. I'm also a nurse and nurse practitioner. I'm the founder of Tough Roots, and I offer health coaching and education to healthcare workers, first responders, and their family members. And I'm going to be speaking on April 2nd about stress management.
Hi, I can go next. My name is Lena Winslow, and I am a founder of Healthy Geek Coach. And my background is in nuclear medicine. I'm a radiology professional. And I will be speaking on resiliency because that is a term and an experience that I've experienced in addition to learning about it in coaching school. So I look forward to that on May 7th.
And hey, everybody, I am Christina Kraft. I am a dentist, a lifestyle medicine specialist, an integrative health coach, and yoga instructor. And I will be talking on April 9th about mindfulness, something near and dear to my heart. Using the tools of mindfulness has helped me work through my own burnout in my own health career and come out the other side a better person for it. I'm excited to share that with you all.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So thank you all for being here tonight. And if anybody has any feedback or anything throughout this, feel free to toss that in the chat. We want to make this as interactive as possible. I think one of the things with burnout is that one size does not fit all. And what I mean by that is that, you know, there are so many different signs and symptoms of this, and we don't always have the same, we don't always experience the same things. And sometimes that can be a little confusing and a little hard for us to identify that, you know, burnout is what we're actually experiencing. So I had a quick question, and again, feel free to offer your feedback, but what are some common signs of burnout that you yourself have experienced, or something that you've seen among your colleagues?
I can speak to that if you'd like. I've burned out in medicine. It started with not sleeping so well, not feeling so well. Your patience for your patients and for your family starts to decrease. Compassion fatigue, emotional fatigue. Your fuse gets shorter and shorter. And I ignored that. My body started to break. You're not eating and digesting as well. You're not sleeping as well. Your joy for the parts of your life that you should feel joy in are not feeling quite so joyful anymore. And then end stages of burnout, if you ignore all of those symptoms like I did, your body starts to fail. Your adrenals fatigue, your thyroid, if you're a woman and you're overstressed, we are so prone to having thyroid issues, that can shut down. Your inflammation goes through the roof. You might notice your gums are really irritated and sensitive. That's one that people miss, that I saw a lot in the dental field. It was one of the ways to see it quickly. What have you guys noticed?
So I can speak to medical burnout, but I'm also a mom to a child with some intense healthcare needs. So that was going on with the compassion fatigue on both ends of the spectrum for me. And it manifested itself in kind of worry. I started getting TMJ. I'm sure you've seen that, like when you clench your jaw and you wake up with the soreness right here and you wonder what's going on. But my final straw, and I'm not saying that this was a burnout, but I ended up with a cancer diagnosis. And at that moment, it was do or die and address and figure out all of these things. And it's amazing how we can jump into action when we're backed into a corner. But my passion and desire is to help people get through it before you get backed into a corner, because eventually we all end up there. And it is so important for people who are there to care for others to bring that in the best way possible.
Absolutely. So one of the things that I notice among colleagues and also in myself, but I think, Christina, you kind of touched on it, but your fuse gets a little shorter. And one of the common things we say in nursing is, you know, nurses eat their young, you know. But I think one of the greater cause of that is usually because we are left with such little resources, you know. We don't have the support that we need. It's a high stress environment. And usually when you feel like your life is, you know, just out of chaos like that, you will grasp for control in any way that you can. And sometimes it comes in the form of, you know, a little aggressiveness and taking that out on those people around you, sadly.
Yeah, I can definitely echo kind of everything that you guys have been saying. Christina, when you said the gum disease, oh my gosh, like when I was in grad school, that was the first time I experienced burnout. And I knew I was stressed, and stress doesn't necessarily lead to burnout, but it can definitely go into burnout. And that's part of what I'm going to talk about in my workshop. But I knew I was stressed out, and I went to the dentist, and they were like, what is going on? Like, are you flossing? I was like, yeah, I floss every night. And I'm like, well, how often do you brush your teeth? Like, what? Like, how much sugar are you eating? And I was like, doing all the right things. And they're like, well, it must just be stress, because there was no other reason for it. So that's when I really knew I had a problem. Like, I was like, if this is causing my gums to be inflamed, like that's intense. Like that's a lot more intense than I realized. And that was like only, unfortunately, the beginning. Yeah, but definitely some other things I've noticed in my own life are like feeling I think feeling overwhelmed, and then that kind of leads to like not paying attention to my own needs as much, and I'm trying to focus on work or whatever the other role is that I'm trying to fulfill, because I feel like I don't have enough resources to meet that, and so I just start ignoring myself and just focusing on work. But of course that leads to like having even less resources for work and myself, and so it's kind of like a vicious cycle. And after a while of that, I start noticing I'm not doing as well at work, and I'm not doing as well in anything else in my life either. So it ends up affecting everything.
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the tricky things with burnout. You're constantly, overworking, overextending yourself and meeting the needs of everyone else. And so when it comes time for you to really take care of you and address you, you're left on empty, and you don't have that energy even oftentimes to really address it like you should. So how can we create a supportive environment within our healthcare environment to address burnout and promote well-being?
I love that question. And my first thought after you guys finished speaking about all the things that layered on top of it, I just kept seeing these layers and layers of trouble that get you to that place. What I would love to say is that when you choose to and turn into another direction, you can layer good habits on top of each other, just like all of those troublesome pieces stacked. You can stack the good stuff, and creating that environment. My own personal mission statement is just that. It's to create an environment of growth and unlimited potential for myself first, and for everyone around me that touches my circle of interaction. So what I would say to that question is create that environment for yourself first. And I know it's an old adage. Everyone says, put on your mask first. And how do you do that when you have 10 people at the door knocking? But you know what? For a healthcare professional, I always say this to people that I work with. It's go to the bathroom when you need to go. Stop like torturing yourself and putting yourself last in basic human functions. So make that a first layer, and then layer these things that you can do in the busy day on top of that. Make yourself a cup of tea in the 5 minutes that you have, so that you have some things to pour out for others.
Those are great recommendations from the perspective of lifestyle medicine, which is my current specialty. Positive social connection is really important. And you're talking about how we can create an environment where this doesn't happen, or where we can support each other. And I think a lot of us suffer in silence. There's this, especially as women, we're not allowed, we're givers. We're givers in the society. There's human beings and human givers, and we are givers, especially if you're in healthcare. So normalizing and talking with other people about how hard this is, creating a safe space for people to come and work through their stress responses, physically, mentally, with you, is so important. Perhaps like a group where you can get outside and ground yourself in nature and be present in a moment, for just a moment, in between all of the stress, because the stress is going to come. The challenges are going to come. How do you create mindful moments and positive social interactions throughout your day so that your cup isn't completely empty? You can fill it and drink as you pour.
Yeah, I think
Beautiful.
it's important to remember too that burnout has individual and organizational factors that go into developing it. And so part of normalizing is reminding people, like, it's not just you. This is really common in our field because we have a lot of shared stressors, and there's a lot of similar organizational and systems issues that we're dealing with. And that's part of why it's so common. But then the other part of why it's common is what you're saying about like the habits that we develop of putting everyone else first and being perfectionistic and being idealistic. And those things lead us to do a good job, but they also make it really hard on us. So it's both and. So I think reminding ourselves of that, and then we can't ignore the individual piece just because we know that there are factors outside of ourselves that are causing burnout. That doesn't get us off the hook. So we need to take action on our own. If we're going to keep working in this field, we know that we're at high risk for burnout, and we know we have stressful jobs and we deal with hard things. And so part of deciding that we're going to continue in this work is figuring out how to make it sustainable for us.
Absolutely. So that's kind of what comes to mind for me too, Katie. I think we hear self-care, self-care, self-care so much, but it really is a multifaceted problem, and not just focusing on self-care, but also system care, community care, I think is really helpful. I think, facilities really do need to step up to the plate and, offer more supportive resources and services for their employees. There's a good book, I can't remember the exact name of it. Maybe one of you have heard of it. I've read only bits and pieces from it, but it's something along the lines of this. It says, employees first and patients second. And, it just kind of stresses the point that if you take care of your employees, then they will really take care of their patients. Once we have the resources and the support that we need to actually do our job efficiently, then we're able to, really take care of the staff and the clients appropriately. One of the main reasons why I left the bedside was because I felt like I could not deliver safe and quality care anymore. And it was just, at the point where I felt like, oh my goodness, I'm really risking my license. And even taking, some of my complaints and things like that to management, I felt like it wasn't, taken seriously. It wasn't, really, I wasn't being heard. And so I think a lot of people are kind of feeling that like, everything is just on us. And again, your power does lie in, the things that you can control for sure. But it's definitely a multifaceted problem, I think. So absolutely. So here's another question for you. Will you guys share a personal goal related to burnout and stress management and how you work toward achieving that goal?
Can I share a really quick aside on this organizational factor that Katie mentioned? There is a study that just came across my desk yesterday, and I feel that it's completely appropriate to mention here because it's not just our personal responsibility to take care of ourselves and do self-care. It's also an organizational responsibility. And now we have a study that included 15 million individuals and 1,600 US-based companies, studied over 4 dimensions of well-being, proving that healthy employees and people who have a high rate on well-being perform better and actually reflect that in the stock price of the company. So it is not at all simply a goodwill gesture from the part of the employer to take care of their employees. It is also something that affects their bottom line. And I think this is a fairly new study that just came out. I really hope that people that come to the workshops like the one we're putting on and communicate together will start taking that to heart and acting from this wholeness of, we're not just doing it for the employees, we're doing it in multiple dimensions that are all good for the humankind. And then my own personal thing that I do is going to be short and sweet. Just like my mission statement, what I really would love to see myself do is stay true to who I am and act from a place of authenticity in every single aspect of my life. So we can talk about relationships, we can talk about family, we can talk about vocation, all of that being in congruence with who I know myself to be. And from that go all of those actions, all of those habits that I build on top to maintain my health and well-being. I hope that makes sense.
It makes complete sense because when you look at the research about burnout, values conflicts are one of the things that causes burnout. So it is completely irrelevant to focus on your values and making sure that you're living those out, because if you're not, even if you're not really aware of it, it kind of like eats at you. So I totally agree with that. Mine, I was trying to think of something unique because, like, I think we all get sick of hearing all the same things, like, oh, exercise and meditate, and I do that, and it's super important. But I wanted to share with you guys something different. So I do a screenless day, usually every week, and I got out of the habit for a while, and it's definitely not good. So I try to do this every week, and you can like tailor this to your own preferences and needs, but it usually doesn't mean that I don't use a screen at all, but it means that I really don't use like the internet. I'll text people, but I won't get online, and I won't use apps or anything like that. And I've just noticed that really, it helps me focus on other things for one, but also it just gives me time to process. I think it's taking away a lot of the distraction. Sometimes it's actually kind of uncomfortable because I realize like, oh, I'm really upset about this thing and I've been ignoring it, or like suppressing it or numbing it with the phone, or being busy. But it provides that place to process those things so they don't build up. So you could actually, or I actually realize like how I'm feeling. Maybe I realize something that I need to work on, but it's been a really helpful habit for me.
Yeah, that space to feel how you're feeling is kind of what mindfulness helps you with, really just being aware. I am trying to walk through my own new cycle of burnout right now. My goal right now is to actually slow down and be less reactive. I have a tendency to think really fast and react really fast. So I'm trying to remember to give myself a moment of breath before I respond to anything and everything. Because my first response that happens in my brain does not need to be the one that comes out of my mouth every time. It is a personal challenge, and it is something I work on. I think that's why I gravitate so much towards trying to be present in the moment, so that I can take that time to really listen to what's happening outside of me coming to me, and not what's happening all right in here, being a filter between what's real and what's happening in my head. So slowing down, being less reactive, that is my goal right now.
I love that. So one, Lena, that study is really interesting. I don't think that I've actually seen that. And I would love for you to actually share that with me later, please. I'd love to read that. And Katie, I absolutely agree with the, digital detox. I do that every week too, usually at least 24 hours, usually on the weekend. But it really does help, Katie, to be more mindful, because our phone, we get so much feedback, so much stimulus from it. And it just really helps to, just kind of block that off and just be more present where you are. One of the things that I think I try to do is to take frequent breaks. While I was at the bedside, again, we're in a given profession. And I think just about every nurse can relate to this. Have you ever gone 12 hours and not drained your bladder before? I know for some people that sounds really shocking, but it's so true. And Lena, you were saying, like use the bathroom, and you get into that cycle where you're just giving and going and going and going. And so that's one of the things that I've been trying to do more of is, Katie, like you, slow down. And or Christina, sorry, slow down and like be more mindful, listen to your body, like, oh, my stomach's growling, I'm probably hungry, I should probably take a break right now, I've got a headache, oh, it's probably because I've been staring into this screen, I should probably go outside, get some fresh air. So just those little things have really been helpful for me. And I'm one of those people, I get super antsy anyway after a while, and so I realize when I get to that point, I'm not really making any progress. I can't really get things done. It's like, okay, just take a break. So that's what has been working for me. So we've got just a few more minutes. I thought maybe we could briefly go over what each of us is discussing for our wellness series, Get Your Shift Together, which is April 2nd through May 7th. And just, briefly share with everyone what our topic is.
Yeah, I can go since mine is coming up next week. So my topic is stress management in real life. And the reason that I titled it that is because I feel like we hear a lot of ideas about stress management, and especially if you work in healthcare, like one of the things is, I know I'm not doing what I should be doing. Like we know what we should be doing a lot of times because we tell our patients, but then we don't do it. And then it feels worse because we're not doing it. So I tried to come up with some strategies they take 10 minutes or less. So you can do them right away. You can do them every day. You can just figure out how to fit it into your life. We're going to do them in the workshop that help to manage stress. They're evidence-based. So you will walk away from it having new strategies that you can use to feel better right away. Stress management can help prevent burnout, and it can help you heal from burnout if you're experiencing it now. So, and it's something that if you want to try to avoid being burned out, it's something that you need to figure out how to do on a regular basis. So some of the things that take longer, like I love to go on hikes, those are important to build into your life, but sometimes we just need the quick things that also work. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on.
I'm excited to hear about that. I have the workshop right after yours, April 9th, and mine is called From Autopilot to Aware, integrating mindfulness into healthcare practice. So I'm going to be talking about mindfulness, which I've been talking about so far, through my own personal lens, and then through what I've learned through practicing yoga and breathing exercises, and just trying to integrate this concept into a real world experience, not a monk sitting on top of a mountain, peacefully sitting in lotus pose, mindfully closing his eyes, looking peacefully out with their mind clear. We can't really do that. So I'm going to talk a lot about our autonomic nervous system, our parasympathetic, sympathetic nervous system, and how you can use tools of mindfulness to activate your rest and digest system and balance between your fight or flight and rest and digest system. And really what mindfulness is in the real world now, rather than just that monk, and ways that you can incorporate in a formal and informal practice mindfulness into your everyday in a way that works for you, not just for the monks. So I'm excited to share with that and hear questions that anyone has when that day comes. Thank you.
That's so exciting. I can't wait to hear both of this. Mine is the last one at the in May 7th. And I'm going to be talking about a common thread that I see in 3 different populations that I personally work with. I work with healthcare providers, I work with moms who have children on the autism spectrum, and I work with people that are faced with chronic or life-threatening conditions. All of these things I have walked through myself. And I choose to plug into where I have didactic knowledge, but I also have deep experiential knowledge. And the common thread between all of those is resiliency. And there are certain things that you can plug into to increase your resiliency. And the really cool thing about it, they're all interconnected. So you can pick one, can pick 2, and you can pretty much guarantee that the rest of them will increase as you take those tiny little steps into acting on what it is that you're deciding to do. And the key here is always some kind of action. It doesn't have to be monumental. It doesn't have to be earth shifting. It just has to involve your body doing something that you've decided to do to improve your well-being. And that's my passion and purpose for still being here.
Awesome. Everything sounds wonderful and I cannot wait. So last but not least, I will be my program will be on the 23rd, and it is Embracing Boundaries. I know the term boundaries can be a little daunting sometimes, a little intimidating for us, but it's really like anything else. The more we practice it, the more we exercise it, the easier it becomes. And with a lot of burnout coaching, what I find is a lot of the, common symptoms that clients may have and colleagues that come to me is that a lot of it stems from our lack of healthy boundaries oftentimes. And so I will be teaching you, different ways to say no and just how to set healthy boundaries, how to identify areas in your life where you need healthy boundaries and how to set those. So you can find the link for this on, Katie, I'll let you say your handle correctly. I don't want to say it wrong. And tell everyone where they can find the link.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. I'm at Tough Roots on Instagram, and then my website is toughrootswellness.com. And if you go to toughrootswellness.com/events, you'll find our series. There's also a link. I have a link tree in my Instagram, so you can find that there too.
Awesome. Okay, thank you all so very much for joining us tonight. I hope this was informative and engaging, and we will see you guys April 2nd for our wellness series, Get Your Shift Together. Have a good night.
Bye. Thanks for coming.
Bye.